And blessed to be a part of your day. Kevin Miller in the morning here at KIDO Talk Radio. Phone numbers 580-5436, 580-KIDO. What an outstanding day we had on the road yesterday on the trail. Big ups, big thanks to our friends at Columbia High School. And it was really nice to get back out into the schools, thanks to CapEd Credit Union, thanks to Team Mazda Subaru. And the reason why it was nice to get back out is because of the just the incredible false narrative that we've been hearing about from the media. And we'll get into that. We'll give you some inoculation. We'll give you some inoculation from today's media fake news tsunami, if you will. So that's one thing. Number two, yesterday I had a chance to meet with some folks from Leadership Meridian, and I went to the Sensi building, and it was a fascinating day because we got down at Columbia. I went to the STAR location, the STAR outpost, if you will, the STAR Bureau of the Kevin Miller program, and did some work there. Had some lovely blog posts and digital stuff, and you're going, gosh, this guy's waking me up. This is exciting. Well, we'll get to it. And then met with some folks at Sensi, and it's the first time that I've been in the Sensi building, and that's open to the public. You can go and have lunch there. It's really worth it just to see what the folks at Sensi have developed, a worldwide empire. My sister loves Sensi, and she lives in New Hampshire. It's funny because she goes, hey, Sensi, do this for a fundraiser. And I'm like, we're pretty much Sensi'd here. And this was about 25 or 30 business owners. And you get up there, and it was a typical Kevin Miller production. And I want to thank the folks at the Meridian Chamber for asking me to do this. They said, okay, how would you like me to introduce you? I said, look, I'll introduce myself. And you get up there, and for someone who is shy or who has an aversion to public speaking, which I do, those can either go really, really bad or really, really sweaty or both. And yesterday, it was interesting hearing people talk about radio as consumers. And for me and our great friend Ray Amaya, we feel that, we are the keepers of the flame of radio. And people love their digital devices, although some millennials are getting a little tired of social media. It's exhausting, right? Hey, Timmy, you posted this on Facebook. Although I have to admit, the comments after the Boise State loss last night were pretty funny. Somebody poking fun at Leon Rice saying, quote, what's next for King Leon? Is he going to swim in the Bellagio fountains, or is he going to joust at Excalibur? I thought that was funny. The Broncos losing last night. Sorry for that. But back to the point, talking to these folks and listening to what they have to say, I thought it was a great interaction. And I was talking to somebody, they go, yeah, why'd such and such leave town? I go, well, they had an opportunity or they wanted to move. It's just about the connection. And that's what we try to do each and every day, whether it's going to Columbia High School, whether it's Miller's Mission, whether it's some other things that were that are in the works, or just talking to you at 580-5436, 580-KIDO, or your favorite candidates. But back to this point of just hearing how people consume radio, and my point has always been that this is the most challenging forum for a listener. This is the most challenging forum for a host to do because there is no vanilla ice to throw to. Somebody said, well, how do you know if people are listening? Is there a light that goes on? Reet, 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 reet. And if the topic's not good, the light goes down? I go, no. It's something called if the phone rings, right? And only 5% of the people that listen actually call in. So we were continuing on about this. Say, look, social media is just a continuation of what talk radio has always been. And we're not talking about music radio. They're nice folks. And you need to know what song just played. But talk radio, when you post on Facebook, when you post on Twitter, it's what we do. It's Idaho's original. It's the country's original social media. And like I said, they were asking me about this and that, and it was just a great time to get out in Meridian yesterday in Sensi. And they said, well, how do you pick a topic? And I said, well, some things, your audience makeup. And we've been doing a little research here. And usually you can break down where people are from. And it's amazing. Did you know that the most amount of people that listen to this program from out of state, or from what state do you think? What state do we continue to talk about and continue to go back and forth about the people from that state coming in? That would be California. They've actually replaced Salt Lake City, which used to be our most listened to audience, because we have people calling in from California or Salt Lake City. Look, we serve the Treasure Valley, but it's fascinating. But the Californians now have become a bigger part of this program from a listener perspective. And I thought, well, why is that? Well, you have so many folks from California moving in. At one time, whether you lived in the Bay Area, whether you lived in Los Angeles, great talk radio, so you're used to, people mixing it up sort of thing. Not the ice cream report or whatever, which was very important to give the ice cream report. But California has captivated our area. And I think it will continue to captivate the area because, we didn't really get a chance to get into this yesterday at KIDO Talk Radio. But California is setting itself up to possibly leave the nation, to leave the union. Now, you that have been in California, maybe you think that's true, maybe you're not. But this is from a couple days ago. This is folks in California pretty much in open defiance of the government of the United States of America.
California is a great state with an important part of America. We wanted a healthy and good relationship with it, but federal law determines immigration policy. State of California is not entitled to block that activity. Somebody needs to stand up and say no.
This is basically going to war against the state of California, the engine of the American economy. It's not wise, it's not right, and it will not stand.
Here's my message to Mayor Schaaf. How dare you? How dare you needlessly endanger the lives of our law enforcement officers to promote a radical open borders agenda?
As I've said many times, our state laws work in concert with federal laws, and our state law enforcement officials work in concert with federal law enforcement officials every day. That's not something we intend to change.
We admit 1.1 million immigrants lawfully to permanent resident status in the United States every year. No nation comes close to that.
And there we have it, the beginning, and people have ridiculed Jeff Sessions. People have ridiculed what he is about. But going after MS-13, going after California and the state of lawbreakers, he has come full circle. And at 580-5436, 580-KIDO, I'm amazed that here you have a state in open rebellion against the government of the United States of America. That's the crazy part about this, and the Attorney General is right.
People have tried to spin this as somehow that we're demanding that the state and local officials go out and do the work of the federal government. We'd like their help. Most states and jurisdictions around the country help happily, but we just cannot allow them to obstruct or block the ability of federal officers to do the job they are lawfully required to do.
580-5436, 580-KIDO. Perhaps it's time to quash the California rebellion.
This is not reasonable. It's radical, really. It's an affirmation, if you want to know the truth, of the idea that we should not have immigration laws, that we should have an open borders.
And really what it comes down to is Ray and everyone else. No, I just saw an email from Ray, and it just kind of got me there. Sorry, Ray. It comes down to Ray, am I on my mind this morning? It comes down to Barack Obama. Too much time with Leadership Meridian yesterday. Barack Obama and the flouting of federal law in two incidences. And this is where the government isn't consistent. Okay? Isn't that all we want from our work? Isn't that all we want from everybody else is consistency? Okay, whether it's, sometimes at work there's rules for some people, there's rules for other people, or at home. Hey, how come, back in the old days, how come my sister Missy gets to do this, or my brother gets to do that, I don't get to do it? I'm oppressed, right? Oh, you're such a martyr, my mom would say. So the state of California, going off of what Barack Obama did, who apparently now wants to be a producer for Netflix. Did you hear about that? We'll talk about that in a minute. Yeah, Obama's going to produce Netflix movies. Anyway, that'll be great. But you go back to this you remember gay marriage. Well, we had to go to the Supreme Court. Okay, sorry, traditional marriage is out. You want to smoke pot? Okay. I'm sorry, there's a federal law. We're not going to enforce the federal law. Okay, California, illegal aliens. We're just going to let them in. Well, no, you're not. Yeah, we are. Julie, good morning. You're on with Kevin Miller at KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Julie.
Good morning, Kevin. I remember California as I had a lot of fun there. I moved there in '80. Good paying jobs, a lot of good surfing, Mavericks, Santa Cruz. San Francisco was beautiful, a lot of culture. Disneyland. Everybody was happy. We had good jobs. Something happened with NAFTA when that came into play, and that happened with the Loma Prieta quake. And there was something else, but I forgot it. Those two combined, I was on the board of directors with Apex, which is manufacturing. We started shifting all the jobs out and sending them off to another country, training people. And it became bad, and I fought. I said, we're about jobs. If you don't have manufacturing, you don't have jobs. And we had to train these people to take our jobs.
Now, you talk about something insidious. That is exactly what it is, whether it was Disney or anybody else. It just, what's the solution?
I don't know, but they didn't like me talking about it. They said, we're an educational. I said, you can educate everybody in manufacturing, but if you don't have jobs, what's the point? Okay, and manufacturing is the harbinger of jobs that are returning, If you don't have that. Anyway, so that was the Clinton administration. Then 9/11 happened shortly thereafter. And I started my own corporation, and we couldn't fly anywhere, so we had to drive across the country, and that was good. And then my family started to get sick, and just everybody around me got sick, and they said, oh, we were in the city, and there was weird people up there, and those two people died right away, and they shouldn't have. And my parents needed help, so I watched them. I went down to Southern California, Palm Springs, Palm Desert area, and they were basically tricked into buying a bad house by someone they trusted in real estate.
Sure.
And this is where it really gets bad. There was so many illegal aliens pouring in that they were told there's a moratorium on civil cases, and we're going to handle criminal only. And I'm not really sure about due process. I know that criminals have the right to a speedy trial, but regular civil people don't.
Well, and that's what we're seeing. And, Julie, thank you for listening to KIDO Talk Radio. Our time is 6:18, but the idea of putting the illegals ahead of American citizens. And there seems to be some type of self-loathing that comes from the press in our great nation. Well, we have to do it for these people. No, we don't. We have to take care of our own. It's like your family. Don't you take care of your family first? Hey, it's great to take care of Stranger Bill, but Stranger Bill's not your family. He's not your kin. 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Getting back to the state of California against the world. And then you have the state, the senator from California. She's urging people to fight. Look, the law is the law, right? And people can go after Jeff Sessions and everything else. But Jeff Sessions is doing the job that Barack Obama, that George Bush, that Bill Clinton didn't.
I'll cooperate, Jeff, if you can get off this current maneuver you're on, because it's unbecoming. It's based on non-truth, and I hope you'll shape up before it's too late. And I'll tell you, this lawsuit, they're talking about going to the Supreme Court. This lawsuit is going to last a lot longer than the Trump administration.
There we have it. I still love Jerry Brown when he got in the face of Bill Clinton. If the press would have taken him seriously, Clinton probably wouldn't have been elected. But, well, what are you going to do? It is 620, 580-5436, 580-KIDO. If you're from California, if you've lived in California and loved California, if you don't like people from California, California rebelling against the United States of America. Your thoughts next with, that's pretty heady for Friday, but your thoughts next with Kevin Miller. Thanks for joining us on KIDO Talk Radio. And Kevin Miller in the morning here at KIDO Talk Radio, taking your phone calls. By the way, do you believe the president will go to Korea, North Korea, to meet with Kim Jong-un, the Rocket Man?
What she did is incredible and very dangerous from the standpoint of ICE and Border Patrol. Very dangerous. She really made law enforcement much more dangerous than it had to be.
There it is, the president on the Oakland mayor tipping off the illegals as if this were the 60s.
And they were all set. This was long in the planning. And she said, get out of here. And she's telling that to criminals. And it's certainly something that we're looking at with respect to her individually.
Time to stuff her and cuff her. Debbie in Payette with Kevin Miller at KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Debbie.
Hi, sir. How are you doing today?
Oh, you can just call me Kevin. How are you?
I'm doing good, thank you. So I just had a comment on the lawsuit against California, and my cousin had just moved up a couple of years ago from California, and we sold him one of our homes. And he told me, I asked him how he felt about what was going on there, about the illegals coming into his state, and he said he would never, ever move back. He said he'll go visit because he has family there. But other than that, because it's just a dumping ground for that, people coming in and ruining their state, he has no desire to go back. And so I just wanted to make that comment about how he feels like he has his rights in the state of Idaho, but they've been taken away in California.
It is sad when we see that. And then you have just people in open rebellion. What is that about?
I think it's just something something to fuss about. It's like, oh, we're the elite. We're going to go against the government, the federal government. And so, hey, let's make a scene. Spoiled brats.
Well, Debbie, thank you for the call and for listening to KIDO Talk Radio. Have a great day.
Okay, you too, Kevin. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, ma'am. Bye-bye. Let's get to traffic and weather. And we continue to take your phone calls at 580-5436, 580-KIDO.
What the mayor of Oakland did the other day was a disgrace, where they had close to 1,000 people ready to be gotten, ready to be taken off the streets. Many of them, they say 85% of them were criminals and had criminal records. And the mayor of Oakland went out, and she went out and warned them all, scatter. So instead of taking in 1,000, they took in a fraction of that.
There we have it. There we have it indeed. Let's go to piano player John in Weiser at KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, piano player John.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm part of the Miller militia. You know, when you have a situation, you send in the piano player with a trumpet.
That's right.
And we don't confuse people or draw fire or make so much noise that we neutralize the situation.
Exactly.
I want to tell you, you don't have to go to California to see a high-quality melodrama like Knott's Berry Farm puts on. There's 30 people that have been putting on this Onion Skin Players melodrama. It's gone on 33 years, and good wins over evil. But it's hard. The drama's so tough. The villain's so evil that he makes liberal Steve look angelic. And the heroine, she's so sweet that Cindy or Liberty Linda, she's just like them, so darn nice. But they do 8 shows. 2 have gone last weekend, but there's 3 shows this weekend, and then Tuesday, and then the next weekend. Lots of costumes, oleos, and they're very patriotic. They have prayer before practice, and at the end of the show, that's patriotic theme, and active duty soldiers and veterans bring the flag forward, and they honor our country, and they all march out with the flag afterwards. But it's the tickets at the door, or the Ontario Chamber or Weiser Chamber have tickets, and sponsors.
Sure, John.
If your company wants to sponsor, there's signs in. But it's an old historic theater in Weiser, and the company's all volunteers.
Right.
They just keep that going. Anyway, a lot of fun. Christian can-can dancers to start the show.
Okay, John. I mean, that's great, but we are, with all due respect, we're talking about California here.
No, this is right here in Weiser, though.
No, I know, but that's the issue we're talking about. See, people want to talk about California, and you're talking about the Weiser play.
Well, this is good wins over evil.
Oh, that's a good point.
Mm-hmm. All righty. Well, yeah, we need.
Well, how can you get tickets?
At the door.
Okay.
Weiser Chamber of Commerce, Ontario Chamber of Commerce.
All right.
And anyway, well, appreciate it, and I got your back. And thanks so much for everybody in your program. You're the only one we listen to. We don't watch television anymore. We don't. The paper's all liberal. I talked to one of the reporters for the Ontario paper, and he said that Donald Trump lies, and I says, where does he lie? And he couldn't tell me. I said, I need to know. And here we have just liberal reporters everywhere.
Well, they're all libs, John. You have a blessed day, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bless.
God bless. All right. Terry, State College, Pennsylvania. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. Kevin Miller, KIDO Radio, Idaho's reality radio.
Yes.
I love it. Kevin, where's it in our music culture? Don't shoot the piano player. What was that, Elton John maybe? Or there's some... That'll show up to us about mid-afternoon. We'll both remember. Oh, that's right. Kevin, a year ago, I was sending you data. You have nothing else to do, so I thought you would read it. California, they took their votes. No, they got their signatures in order to place on the ballot this year. Can we rewrite the Constitution of California so that we can leave the Union? They got their signatures. It's got to go on the ballot. Eric Holder, he was charging them $30,000 a month for the past year to rewrite their Constitution, which allows them to succeed from the Union. So they're established. It will be on the ballot this year as to whether they should leave the Union or not. So we'll see, or it should be adopt the new California Constitution. And the very moment that Trump said no TPP, well, Governor Brown said, oh, yeah, okay, well, we'll sign TPP with China. China, unlike before, China's totally invading California. So there's some serious changes down there. I don't know where this is going to all end up, but could you see them succeeding from the Union?
I'm always a big fan of, if you don't want to be here, get out.
Tell me about it. Well, actually, what I was hoping for was the San Andreas Fault would slowly open, so there would be no carnage and massive deaths, and it would just separate us from California, and maybe slowly, the tectonic plates shift. California slowly works itself out into the Pacific, and they become their own little whatever out there.
That's funny.
Like a solution to me.
And as far as I know, we're not going to get Steely Dan tickets, but if I do, you'll be the first to know.
Appreciate that. Yeah, Kevin, California, it's the problem's going to become bigger before it becomes smaller. I don't know in what capacity, but they love their illegals down there. They put the illegals in many respects when they break the laws. They put the illegals ahead of the American citizen. So again, it's bigger before it gets smaller. I don't have a looking glass here. I'd say, wow, this is going to happen, or that's going to happen. But there's a lot of things in play. Remember, they've lined themselves up with the two major Latino groups down there that are all about illegal immigration. They're really pulling together their own little nation down there, so to speak, in many respects. But I don't know how it's going to affect us here in Idaho.
Terry, have a great day.
Send liberal Steve down. Thank you.
All right, send in the libs. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Maggie.
Good morning.
We're joined by the publisher of the Gem State Patriot. You know him as Tea Party Bob. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Miller. How are you today? Thanks for giving me this opportunity to talk to your wonderful audience.
Well, when I just answered. It was just answering your question. It's fascinating what's going on here with all things politics, and a lot of our friends are involved in campaigns. So I think it's just you and me now. That's what it's become.
There's a song about that. It's called "You and Me Against the World."
Exactly, brother. Your thoughts on the current controversy, something very near and dear to your heart, and you and I we agree to disagree on this, but the idea that CBD oils, people want to have hearings, people want to get a vote. What's the latest?
Well, as we all know, the governor is very much against this, as he vetoed it the last time, and now we have a committee chairman, Lee Hyder, who has basically said he's not going to allow this to be heard, period. I don't often agree with Liberal Steve, but his comments yesterday were 100% right on about the legislators and Governor Otter that are against the CBD bill. And it all comes down to my favorite saying, follow the money. Big pharma companies pay to keep efficacious medicines like CBD oil from being used instead of they would prefer their synthetic drugs to be used, which cause so many more side effects, and they're a lot more expensive. This industry spends $5 billion just on advertising each year to sell new products. So how much do you think they're willing to pay in a campaign money to keep the competition off the shelves and out of the hands of consumers? I'll let you figure that for yourself, but I will tell you it's in the hundreds of millions. I'm not only disappointed in Governor Otter and the legislators who are keeping this subject from having a public hearing. These officials make me ashamed to be an Idahoan because they would rather see the people they serve, that they have pledged to serve, and their children in pain and misery so they can placate the drug company.
Let's get back to some analysis, though, as opposed to commentary. So here at KIDO Talk Radio, there will be no hearing on this. Is that what you're saying, based on your
That's
reporting?
That's what they're saying. That's exactly what the committee chairman, Hyder, is saying. He will not let this matter be heard. And I think it's a travesty.
I'm sorry. For someone who has been a part of the news, covered the news, I don't know if you can make more of what happened where Hyder got caught, yelling at the senator, telling everybody to go back to his office, and then all of a sudden saying that the governor doesn't want it, the attorney general doesn't want it, no one wants it. And you're thinking to yourself, well, maybe the governor should just run things if they're just going to take the marching orders from him. Just like Mike Moyle the other day when he said, the governor told him no grocery tax. And you're thinking, well, Congress doesn't listen to the president. Why are the legislators afraid of the governor, it seems?
Well, you're absolutely right. And that's why slowly but surely we've been adding more and more conservative legislators that are speaking up. And the people in the hierarchy of the legislature don't like it. And they're very upset about it because everybody used to fall in line. It doesn't happen anymore. And it shouldn't happen. This is something that the people of Idaho are entitled to. When you have 29 other states that permit this, there is no reason for it not to be permitted in this state. And the only reason that anybody can figure out is because there's money involved. Do you ever hear the actual story about why we don't have access to cannabis and CBD oil?
Mm-mm.
Has anybody ever told you the story?
Well, I've heard a lot of stories.
Well, do you realize that until 1937, there were 2,000 cannabis medicines, over 280 manufacturers, and there three of the largest drug companies, Lilly, Upjohn, and Parke-Davis, had over 100 of these medicines that you could buy over the counter at your pharmacy. Over the counter. These were capsules, powders, extractions. And they were used for treatments of various diseases up until 1937. So what happened? Well, it's simple. Big money got involved. And when you look at the reason, people like the Hearst Company, who had big paper interests and didn't want hemp coming into the country.
Right.
And people like DuPont didn't want anybody supplanting their oil and chemical businesses. So they got rid of the hemp, and they did it politically. And that's one of the reasons you had the Hearst conglomerate out there, just like the fake news today.
Right, yellow
talking marijuana.
Yellow journalism and the like. But back to here in Idaho. So for this session, you believe it's not going to happen?
You know, nobody can tell what's going to happen. The people actually have to shame this government and the people who are currently running it into doing this. And the only way they can do that is by calling or emailing their representatives and protesting as loudly as they can and going to the polls and telling these people and running people in primaries against them.
What do you say
to make sure they don't get in?
What do you say to people that say, and because I've had people email me when we've had you on saying there's no definitive proof that CBD oils help folks, except with people that I know and you know that say, look, it makes a difference. What do you say to people that agree with these folks, Hyder and the governor?
I have a library, and I'm talking about hundreds of pages showing the efficacy of CBD oil. And anybody who'd like to have the information, you know, I took the time to put on Dr. Carl Feltz and John O'Neill, a constitutional attorney, to talk about the pros and cons on my show. And I sent that podcast to each and every member of the committee on the Senate. And you know, I never heard a word back from any of them. I also sent them all the information they would need to know about the efficacy of the CBD oil. I've been studying this stuff for almost 3 years. You have Dr. Alquist on, says he's only seen one study. Where has he been hiding? In a cave? And Governor Otter, he doesn't have a clue. And where is our lieutenant governor, who's running for governor? I haven't heard a peep out of this guy. I have the info. You want it? I'll give it to you. I'll email it to you. I'll hand deliver it to you. You know, we are fighting now to get this CBD oil used and available when in 1937 it was readily available, and they were using it to cure any number of diseases. They were using it for cancer. They were using it for epilepsy. And now they're telling us it doesn't work? What a lot of baloney. They don't want it to work. You know, for every person that gets well, the drug companies lose a customer. And they don't want to lose any customers. This is the big problem. Too much payoff. I'm tired of it. I would think you are too.
Well, that's why you continue to fight with the Gem State Patriot and others. And I believe Stand Your Ground is actually going to have a hearing today, so we'll see how that happens. They're going to vote on whether or not, I guess the full House will debate that, so we'll see that. What would you like folks to do?
I'd like them to call or email the governor and Lee Hyder and everybody on that Senate committee. And if you want, I will put it all up on my Facebook. You can go there and find the numbers. But just call the Capitol and get the governor on. Tell him you want this. You want this available. Why are we allowing people to suffer? Why are we allowing children to suffer? It's time for people to get activated. You can change it if you want, but if you don't participate, you don't get any action.
To be continued. Tea Party Bob, thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Have a great day.
All right. A very emotional report there from Tea Party Bob. Look, if you're associated with the governor, these are tough times. The governor asserting his influence. And look, this is not speculation on talk radio here at KIDO Talk Radio. It is reporting. You have reporters saying, look, we have a blog, Gem State Hardball, where you have Mike Moyle being caught on the camera saying he talked to the governor, no grocery tax. Then you have Hyder, Senator Hyder, Representative Hyder, whatever he is, Senator Hyder saying, look, no one's going to vote for this behind closed doors. Got caught breaking the rules, right? To continue somebody's agenda. Here's the frustration, and we've been covering this for many, many years. Give these people a hearing. Let them make the case. What do they fear on that? Isn't that what a republic is about? 580-5436, 580-KIDO. You can check that, the coming conservative storm on KIDOTalkRadio.com. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. And blessed to be a part of your day. Kevin Miller in the morning. Brian in Nampa, good morning.
Hey, Kevin, how are you today?
Not bad, Brian. We're up against the clock. You've got about a minute, sir.
I just wanted to agree with Bob. I think he's basically talking about progressivism, and it's in both parties, the Democrat and the Republican Party, and it's been going on for about 80 or 90 years, and it doesn't matter what subject it is. Just full disclosure, I'm LDS or a Mormon. I would love to wear hemp clothing. I don't do drugs, but I can even tell you there's some benefits to hemp clothing. And we're just talking about individual freedom here. But with that comes individual responsibility. So when we talk about what we would like, you do something wrong and then you go run into the government and say, hey, do something about it. They're going to do something about it. So we need to stop doing that and take individual responsibility for our action.
Brian, great point. KIDO Talk Radio, traffic and weather together. Good morning, Dave.
Rick Everett.
And Kevin Miller in the morning. Coming up next, our great friends from Fox News on the radio. We'll get the national report. Then we'll check in with our friends from Channel 7. Then we'll talk a little bit more about the president going to North Korea. All that before 9 a.m. with me, Kevin Miller, and you. KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning.